Hello everyone, and welcome to another recent reads video from me, or a match review, whatever you want to call it. So I've been doing these a lot lately because I've been reading a lot. I just really like doing them. So today I'm talking about 3 YA contemporaries that I have read very recently. As always, I will leave timestamps on the screen right here and down below if you want to hear about one book I'm talking about today in particular, or if you want to watch all 3, go for it. As always, again, I'm going to tell you what the book is about, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and what I rated it, all while being spoiler free. So it's just like, you know, do I want to read this book or not? For you guys to decide that. So the books I will be talking about today are The Best Laid Plans by Cameron Lund, What I Like About You by Marissa Cantor, and Time of Our Lives by Emily Wibberley and Osman Siga-Broca. I believe these 2 are debut novels and the last one is not. I read Time of Our Lives on eARC, that's why I don't have it. So let's get into it. Before I get into reviewing these books, I just want to say all 3 of these books I liked, I didn't love. I'll get into more about why, but as I read more YA contemporary, I'm really reminded that I am not the intended age bracket for these genres at all. You know, they're meant for teenagers, and here I am 31, almost turning 32 soon, reading them. And so I find myself not disliking them more, but having a harder time connecting with the characters, with understanding their point of view, because I don't have the same point of view. I'm not a teenager anymore. So with this review in particular, as well as all my reviews, I tell you to take my reviews with a grain of salt. Just because I like or dislike something doesn't mean you're gonna like it or dislike it. But with this one in particular, because I am really not the intended age bracket, and I think a lot of teens would like these books, but I didn't really love them because, you know, of the conversations and things like that, which I'll go into more. But I just want to say that, you know, take these with a grain of salt, because, you know, I'm definitely not the intended age for this. But that, you know, that's a whole nother video in itself of, can you read books that are not in your intended age bracket? The answer to that, I think, is yes. I think I can read middle grade right now if I wanted to and enjoy it. I can read YA forever and enjoy it. But I think I will enjoy it, but I think I'll have a harder time connecting with the characters because I'm not within that age. So, oh my gosh, long spiel over, just wanted to say that. So, moving on to our first book, The Best Laid Plans by Cameron Lund. I gave this book a 3 out of 5. I liked it, I didn't love it. It's a great debut novel. I like the way she wrote it. I like the basis of the plot, but there was a lot of flaws I have with this book, and I think that's going to be personal preference. This is about a character named Keely who is a senior in high school, and pretty much she's the last of her friends to still have her virginity. Everyone else has lost it and she has not, so she feels really left out, and she feels like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And then she meets this college guy named Dean, and they strike up a relationship, and he wants to take things to the next level, but Keely's not comfortable enough because she, you know, doesn't want him to know that she is still a virgin. So she decides to enlist her best friend for life, Andrew, to kind of help her with this, if you get what I'm saying, because he is a ladies' man, he dates somebody new every month, and she figures, hey, he'll help me and then I could be with Dean, and that's pretty much the plan of the book. My main problem with this book was just the sheer talk of virginity. And this is gonna be, like I said, personal preference. I don't think it's wrong, or I think it's perfectly fine to teach teenagers safe sex and how to do things right. But I don't think it's okay to teach teenagers that being a virgin is just really frowned upon, which is what I got from this book. Like, Keely thought that being a virgin was just the worst thing ever. Like, it was just like a curse put upon her that everyone else has grown up and become a woman or a man because they lost their virginity, but she's just left behind and she feels just horrible. Does that happen today a lot in society? Yes, it does. And should it happen? No. I think that a lot of people use the act of virgin or not, really, and it just gets really blown out of proportion. I don't think we should judge somebody if they're a virgin or not. Did we think any less of them if we didn't know? No, we wouldn't. So that's the biggest gripe I have with this book, was just the fact that they took being a virgin being like the worst thing ever, and the end of it kind of resolved itself, but not really, in my opinion. I just feel like it just should have been fleshed out more. Like, it's okay if you're a virgin. It's okay if you're not a virgin. Everyone is different. We don't have to judge somebody if they haven't lost their V card, is what kids call it, I think, these days. So, I mean, like I said, it's going to be a personal thing. You could be something that really is for, you know, talking about virginity and da-da-da-da, but to me, I just really, that put a bad taste in my mouth with this book because I felt like it's sending teens the wrong message. Like, I feel like it's sending teens like, it's not okay to be a virgin, just to let you know. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I may go down to a 2 just because it really bothers me that that was the main gist of this book. And there was just so much sexual talk. Like, I guess that's what teenagers think about a lot, but it was like overwhelming. So if that bothers you, don't read this book. But I really like the great friends to lovers relationship. The friendships in this were great too, but that was just my biggest gripe. So moving on, and it's okay if you disagree with me, totally understand. The next up, we have What I Like About You by Melissa Cantor. Again, I believe this is another debut novel. Again, I thought the writing was great. Again, I had a hard time connecting with the main character. So this book, we have a character named Hallie. Hallie? I don't know. Hallie is the daughter of like these film directors for documentaries and stuff, and she's moved around a lot. And the one thing she finds solace in is book blogging. She has this book blog where she decorates cupcakes that matches the book, kind of. It's called, I want to say, OTP is for One True Pairing. It's like One True Cupcake. I think that's really adorable. I think that's what it's called. Hopefully I'm right. But she is a big book blogger. A lot of people like her, things like that. She has an online best friend named Nash. He's also he has his own webcomic and things like that. So they've been talking for forever online. And then one day Hallie has to move in with her granddad along with her brother because her parents are going off to another country to do a documentary. Long story short, Hallie meets Nash in real life, only Nash doesn't know it's Hallie because Hallie goes by the name of Kels online. She uses a pseudonym. She doesn't put her real name out there or her photo or anything. So Hallie meets Nash, and Nash is who he says he is online as he is offline. And they strike up a friendship and maybe more. But meanwhile, Nash is still talking to Kels online, thinking it's Kels. It's just like a whole double thing. Like, she's pretending to be 2 people when she's really 1. So in real life, you know, Hallie meets Nash, but really she knows that she knows Nash. She knows him as Kels. And she decides to just put up this front and just keep that act going instead of just telling him the truth that, hey, I'm Kels, the girl you've been talking to forever, that maybe we have feelings for each other. And it just gets really complicated and just begins a huge spider web of just lies and deceitfulness. So if you haven't already guessed, that was my main flaw with this book, was just the fact that Hallie did not tell Nash who she really is. Now, this is a really big part of why I put that intro in there, of why I'm not the intended audience for this, because I think that if I was at her age when she was like 17, 16, something like that, I don't know if I would have done the same thing, but it would have been a huge deal for me. Reading this now as a 31-year-old, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Just say who you are. Who cares? But things are a lot different when you're younger. Things are much more serious. It's much more, I don't want to say over the top, but you know, it's like everything is a big deal, which is how it is when you're a teenager. It's how it was when I was a teenager. And then as you grow older and life punches you in the face several times, believe you me, it never stop will, you start, you know, kind of toning and figuring out who you are and things like that. But as a teenager, you're still trying to figure out who you are. And Hallie really struggled with that in this book, with telling Nash or not telling Nash and being deceitful. And I just didn't like that because I felt like this whole big confrontation plotline could have been avoided if she just would have been honest at the front. But I get why she did it, because she was young, she was scared, she didn't know how he would react, she didn't know if that he would like her more online than her as a person. So I understand it to an extent, because, you know, I get it. I probably would have thought about the same thing when I was younger, but I'm not younger, I'm older now. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I really loved the book community aspects. I feel really akin to it. She had some great online friends that were great helpers and crusaders. She had great followers and people. It was just a nice community, which I think overall the book community is just really nice and supporting. We all want to root for one another. We all want to talk about really important issues. So I really love that aspect. That was, I think, my favorite part of the aspect of it. I also love the family aspect because her family is Jewish, and I love reading about Jewish families because I don't know enough and I always appreciate learning more. But the main problem with me was just the lie and the whole like deceitful act. But again, as I will say repeatedly, I am not the intended age for this. So, you know, it's a tricky situation. But overall, it was cute. It was fluffy. I feel like it ended way too quickly. It wrapped up like that, and I really feel like it needed to be fleshed out more. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I would recommend if you're looking for a YA contemporary, but you have to be, you know, assured that if you're older and you're going to read it, you need to, you know, take yourself. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Either way, I enjoyed it. And the last book I want to talk about today is Time of Our Lives by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigma Broca. I read this on NetGalley, so that's why I don't have it yet. I read it as an e-arc. This one, again, I also gave a 3 out of 5, which is not a bad rating at all. 3 out of 5 is the middle of the road for me. If you want to hear about more about my feelings on 3 out of 5s, I have a whole video about how I rate books. So this one is about 2 characters, we follow them both, named Fitz and Juniper. They are both going on this college tour because they are high school seniors and they're trying to figure out what college they want to go to, and they lead very, very different lives and have very, very different expectations from this trip. So first up we have Fitz. Fitz has a younger brother and he also has a mom. He's adopted, and his mom has been tested and everything, and she is going to get early onset Alzheimer's, and her mom had it and things like that. So Fitz really wants to be able to take care of his mom because she's a single mom and his brother's out of town, so there's really no one else to care for his mom but him, and he doesn't know when exactly her early onset Alzheimer's is going to happen, but he wants to be near home. He wants to be able to be there for her. So he wants to go to this college in South New Hampshire, I believe. That's in the same state as mom. He live at home, things like that. So he has his heart set on that, but his mom really wants him to take a tour, a college tour all across the East Coast from New York to like Virginia, things like that, and wants him to really experience the college life. She wants him to try to find a college that maybe is not at home because she wants bigger and better things for him, but he wants to take care of her. We have Fitz that really doesn't want to travel away from home, that wants to be home for college. Then on the flip side, we have Juniper. Juniper has like 5 siblings. Her family is Spanish, I believe, and they have a restaurant. Her grandmother's sister's there, and she just is always feeling suffocated when she's at home. Everybody's always there. Everybody's just constantly talking. She wants to move as far away as possible to college. She wants to just have a fresh start, not share a room with somebody that's like her sister. She just wants to get out. So both Fitz and Juniper are going on these college tours wanting very, very different things, and somehow they meet through a chance encounter and they become friends. Juniper also has a boyfriend during this, the beginning of this at least. I don't think it's spoil anything. I think you can clearly tell there's going to be a romantic relationship between Fitz and Juniper, and anyway, 3 out of 5. This took place over like 11 days between the college tour, and I think the reason why I didn't like this was of our main character's chemistry. I didn't feel like they connected. It's like as soon as they met, it was like just instantaneous, which a lot of books have insta love. Sometimes I really enjoy it, sometimes I don't. This one I didn't really love, especially because our character Juniper was like in a relationship with somebody else. There was like no cheating or anything, which is a huge, huge turnoff for me in any book, in any genre, but it was just weird. The romance was weird. I'm not gonna lie to you at all. I did really like how each of them, Fitz and Juniper, had very different feelings with college and how they each wanted very different things, but by the end of the book they kind of shifted their perspective and they kind of decided to maybe change and maybe want different things. And I also did not like the ending. It ended far too abruptly. I don't know if that's going to be the case with the actual book because I read an e-arc. And in the e-arc, I hope this is not spoiling, you don't really know where they decide to go to college. It just kind of ends abruptly. And I would have really liked to see them decide where they're going to college. Are they still going to talk or not? Things like that. I would have liked that a lot. And I hope that the finished copy has that. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out when I get a copy. But yeah, this one, I would say it was really interesting seeing the different colleges, how they talked about family a lot. This really had a lot of family talk, which I did love because Juniper really discovered in the book that she loves her family and that she wants to be near them somewhat. And then Fitz learns that maybe it's okay to kind of be away from home and that maybe he's not all alone doing everything for his mom. So yeah, I did enjoy this one. I will say this one might, it's not my favorite by them. My favorite of theirs will always be If I'm Being Honest, but I still enjoyed it. It was a solid read, a 3 out of 5. But those are all my feelings on these 3 books. Let me just hold up one so I can generically show you it's by this author. There you go. But I liked them. I didn't love them. I'd say they're all kind of solid YA contemporaries. They each have different things. They each, had their flaws, but they were cute in their own right. I would love to hear if you've read any of these and your feelings on them. Did we have the same feelings or not the same feelings? Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.